Here's a question that sounds simple and isn't. That opinion you have, the strong one, the one that feels like you, where did it actually come from? Not what's your reasoning, I mean, where did it come from? Who put it there first? Because if you trace almost any belief you hold all the way back to its roots, you tend to find something uncomfortable. You didn't reason your way to most of it, you absorbed it, before you were old enough to have any say in the matter. And that leads to a strange and kind of liberating idea. One that the oldest contemplative traditions and a lot of modern psychology actually agree on for once. You are not your thoughts. They feel like the most you thing there is, but a huge amount of what runs through your head was installed, not chosen. And once you see that clearly, something opens up. Let's start with where the thoughts come from, because it's more than people like to admit. Think about everything that loaded into you before you could possibly consent to it. The family you happen to be born into, the town, the country, the language you think in, which quietly shapes what you can even easily think. The religion, or absence of one, the culture, the era, the unspoken rules of how people like us do things. None of that was a choice. It was a coincidence of where and when and to whom you were born. A baby born 500 miles away or 500 years ago got a completely different set of obvious truths installed, and grows up just as certain that theirs are the right ones. And most of it never gets questioned. That's not an insult, it's just how minds work. The inherited stuff doesn't feel inherited. It feels like reality, like plain common sense, like the way things are. You don't notice the water you've been swimming in your whole life. So here's the uncomfortable part said gently. A lot of what you call my opinion, my values, just who I am, you didn't arrive at. You received it. Like a hand-me-down coat you've worn so long, you forgot it isn't your skin. Now, a lot of people never examine any of this. They run the program they were handed exactly as installed, their whole lives, and never once ask where it came from. And I want to be really careful how I say this, because it would be easy to sound superior here, and I don't mean that at all. It's not that most people are stupid or asleep, and I'm somehow awake. Most people were simply never shown that examining the program was even an option. The whole system is designed so the water stays invisible. If anything, I got lucky. Something in me happened to recoil early, even as a kid. I'd snag on things everyone around me seemed to just accept. Some rule that didn't add up. Some that's just how it is that plainly wasn't. I remember being small, hearing the grown-ups talk about a whole group of people as if they were all the same one bad thing, and thinking of a single person we actually knew who was nothing like that. It just didn't fit. If the rule were really true, how was this one exception standing right there in front of me? I didn't have words for it then. I just couldn't leave it alone. And that itch sent me digging. That's not virtue. That's closer to temperament and circumstance. So this isn't wake up, sheeple. It's gentler than that. It's just you're allowed to look. Whatever got installed in you, you have permission to take it down off the shelf, turn it over, and ask, is this actually mine? Do I actually believe this? Or do I just have it? That's it. You don't owe your programming your loyalty just because it got there first. And I mean that about everything, including what I'm telling you right now. Don't just swap your old programming for mine. Don't walk away from this having simply believed me. Take what I say and put it through the same test. Does it actually hold up when you examine it? If it doesn't, drop it. No hard feelings. It'd make me a hypocrite to spend a whole video saying, stop taking things on authority, and then ask you to take this on mine. I'm not handing you a conclusion to adopt. I'm handing you a shovel. So how do you examine a belief you've worn your whole life? Here's the method I use. I only know one way to do anything, honestly, and it's to go all the way in. I don't do shallow. When something doesn't sit right with me, I don't just drop it. I delve. I go deep into the thing itself, all the way down, until I actually understand what it is, rather than the cartoon of it. When I started questioning what I'd inherited, I didn't reject it from the outside like a teenager rolling his eyes. I went in. I dove deep into the belief systems I'd been handed. Religiosity, then atheism, then various esoteric systems. Really in, not the tourist version. And the deeper I went, the more I found, underneath a lot of them, the same problem. And let me be precise here, because this part matters. Not the people. The people are almost always good, and often the belief gave them real comfort, real community, a real place to stand. The problem was in the structure of the thing built, whether anyone intended it or not, in a way that quietly makes questioning it feel dangerous. A system where doubt gets treated as betrayal has somewhere along the line stopped being about what's true. That's what my gut had been recoiling from before I had words for it. And that's the engine of the whole method. Let me name it because it's the part people get wrong. I do trust my intuition. When something pulls me towards it or repels me away, I pay attention. But intuition is not the answer, it's the hypothesis. The pull is just the start. Then comes the part that actually matters. I ask, why? Why am I drawn to this? Why did that repel me? Because here's the trap. Intuition itself can be programming. The thing that feels obviously wrong might just be conditioning talking. So the feeling is the lead. The relentless why is the investigation. Feeling without the why is just inherited reflex wearing a confident face. Now, if you're really paying attention, you might have just caught a problem, and it's a real one, worth sitting with for a second. You're trying to examine your programming, using a mind that was itself programmed. The very ruler you're measuring with was handed to you too. So is there even a clean place to stand? Somewhere outside all your conditioning, where you can look back at it with perfectly clear eyes? Honestly, no, there isn't. You never get to step fully outside yourself and inspect your own mind from nowhere. But here's the thing, you don't need to. It's less like tearing a house down to the foundation and rebuilding from scratch. You can't. You're living in it. And more like repairing a boat while you're still out at sea. You can't haul it ashore and start over. So you replace one plank at a time, standing on the plank you haven't questioned yet to do the work. Then later, you turn around and question those too. It's slow, it never fully finishes, and that's not a flaw in the method. That is the method. You don't arrive at some finished, spotless mind. You just keep making it more yours, one plank at a time. Do that enough times, and intuition becomes a muscle, a trained one. You stop just doing the right thing and start understanding why it's right. And understanding why is the only thing that's truly yours. Anyone can be handed a conclusion. Only you can do the digging. So that's the doorway. You are not your inherited thoughts. You can examine them, keep what's actually yours, and set the rest down. And if the video stopped there, it'd already be worth your time. But I have to be honest, because there's a deeper version of this, and I can only crack the door on it today. Once you've cleared out the borrowed thoughts and kept the examined ones, here's the strange part. Those still aren't you either. Because notice something right now, as I say it. There is a part of you that can watch a thought arrive. You can sit and observe your own thinking. Oh, there's a worried thought. There's an angry one. And the very fact that you can watch it means you are not it. You're the one watching. The thoughts are weather. You're the sky they pass through. And the sky was never the weather, no matter how big the storm. That's a whole other journey. And it's the one meditation actually trains. If you've seen my video on that, the skill that sharpens every other skill, that practice, sitting and watching your own thoughts, is exactly how you start to know the watcher directly, instead of just hearing me describe it. So if this landed, start there. And the deeper reaches of it, what that watching eventually opens onto, go further than I can do justice to today. So I'll leave that door cracked for another time. But feel it, just for a second. The watcher behind the thoughts. That quiet thing noticing. That's closer to you than any thought you've ever had. So here's what I'd leave you with. Something to actually do today. Pick one belief you hold strongly, just one, and instead of defending it, get curious about it. Ask the uncomfortable question. Where did this actually come from? Did I reason my way here? Or was it installed and I've just been carrying it? You don't have to throw it out. Plenty of what we inherit is good and survives the examination and becomes yours for the first time precisely because you finally checked. The point isn't to reject everything. The point is to stop running on autopilot, to know which thoughts you've actually chosen. Because you are not the program you were handed. And you're not even the thoughts you'll choose to replace it with. You're the one who gets to do the choosing, the quiet watcher behind all of it. So, that belief that feels the most like just who you are, where did it really come from?